Have you ever been set off by a single comment, fuming over something small like traffic, a slow internet connection, or someone cutting in line? You don't want to react negatively or lose your cool, but it surges out like a reflex. Afterward, when the storm passes, you're left drained, wondering, why did I get so angry? Why does a tiny thing throw my mind into chaos? Is there a way to stop being swayed by these triggers? Good news, yes there is. Even better, you don't need to become a saint, stay perfectly wise, or suppress emotions until you're numb. You just need one skill: learning to observe and guide your emotions instead of letting them steer you. Stoic philosophy, practiced for over 2,000 years by warriors, emperors, and people in turbulent times, offers a path to mental steadiness. They didn't live in calm eras. They thrived in chaos and found ways to stay unswayed. This video shares 8 simple yet profound Stoic strategies to help you break free from cycles of anger, frustration, and impulsive reactions. If you truly want inner peace, no matter how unstable life gets, this could be your first turning point. Strategy 1. Understand the true nature of anger. Anger is a powerful, rapid emotion, sometimes erupting so fiercely that even you in its grip feel startled. Many view anger as instinctual, natural, uncontrollable, a justified response to someone's wrongdoing or life's frustrations. But pause and ask, where does anger really come from? Is it inevitable, or is it a choice, however swift, that you make? Stoicism doesn't label anger as wrong, but sees it as a signal, a clue that your perceptions and reactions are being swayed by illusions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The key: anger doesn't stem from others' actions, but from your judgment of those actions. For example, if someone is 30 minutes late, you might fume, thinking they disrespected you. But if you learn they were delayed by an accident, your anger vanishes. You might even worry for them. So what sparked the anger? Not the lateness, but the story you told yourself about it. This is the first truth. Anger arises not from events, but from the narratives you weave around them. Realizing this unlocks a deeper insight. If anger is born of thought, you can change it. You can re-examine the story you're telling yourself. Question the beliefs, expectations, truths, or assumptions fueling your rage. Stoics don't suppress emotions. They train to separate emotion from reality, asking, what's really happening here? Instead of riding the emotional wave blindly. Take a common scenario. You're driving and someone cuts you off, honking rudely. Your first impulse is irritation, but pause. Do I know why they're rushing? Am I sure it was intentional? Even if they're wrong, will reacting change anything? A gap opens between stimulus and response. In that gap lies your freedom, your choice, your strength. Anger grows dangerous when unrecognized. It slips into your mind like default coding. Someone says something you dislike, you feel threatened or hurt, and you lash out with words, actions, or even venomous silence. But a Stoic pauses. Hold on. This is just an event. How am I judging it? Is there evidence? Another perspective? How do I want to act to avoid regret? A few seconds of reflection shifts you from victim to master. Here's the fascinating part. When you observe anger objectively, it's like smoke, dense and blinding at first, but it dissipates if you don't fuel it. No emotion lasts forever unless you feed it with thoughts in agreement. Dwelling on, I'm insulted, I don't deserve this, they're wrong, or life's unfair, adds logs to the fire. Instead, try, I feel angry, but I am not this anger. I'll watch it pass like a cloud. You reclaim control. Stoics aren't immune to anger. They're human, but they train not to be its slave. They let emotions come and go without losing clarity. This isn't indifference, it's maturity. Not suppression, but choosing responses aligned with their values. A simple, powerful exercise to grasp anger's nature. When you feel it rising, write 3 sentences. 1. What's happening? 2. What thoughts are making me angry? 3. Is there another way to see this? Just write. No need to change instantly. Writing creates distance from the emotion. From that space you see, anger isn't mandatory. It's a reaction, and reactions can be replaced with conscious action. Anger only rules when you let it. Understanding it as a reflex triggered by specific beliefs strips its power. You don't need to fight it, just know it. With enough understanding, you transcend it, not through force but through awareness. If you've ever realized your anger came not from an event, but from how you thought about it, share in the comments. Like the video if it resonates, and subscribe to catch the next strategies for a calmer, more centered life. Strategy 2. Distinguish what you control from what you don't. One of the greatest leaps toward freeing yourself from anger or frustration is recognizing what you truly control and what you cannot. It sounds simple, but most daily irritations, big or small, stem from trying to control the uncontrollable. The irony, the harder you grasp at what's beyond your reach, the more powerless, exhausted, and explosive you become. Epictetus opens his Enchiridion with, "Some things are up to us, some are not." Live by this, and anger recedes like a tide. Anger at its core is an inner rebellion when expectations aren't met. Often those expectations involve things you don't control, what others think, say, or do. Whether circumstances align, the weather, traffic, a tough boss, an unreasonable client, an inattentive partner, and so on. Imagine living with the clarity that you can't control others, only your thoughts, emotions, and actions. When someone insults you, you can't erase their words, but you can choose not to let them define your worth. When plans collapse last minute, you can't rewind time, but you can decide to adapt, learn, or accept it calmly. Each time you choose wisely, you master your life a bit more. This separates reactive from rational living. Reactive people try to control the world, crumbling when things veer off their script. Rational people know life owes them no favors. They don't expect ease. They aim to be strong enough to not be swayed by uncertainty. That strength starts with discerning what's mine to control and what isn't. Try this. Write 2 columns. Column A, things I control. Column B, things I don't control. In A, you'll list my reactions, thoughts, words, daily habits, attitude toward failure, actions today. In B, weather, others' emotions or actions, the economy, who loves or hates whom, and so forth. Magic happens when you invest energy only in column A. You stop arguing to change others. You quit resenting life. You turn inward and ask, with what I control, what can I do? Stoicism isn't passive. It fuels focused, wise, practical action. You don't waste energy punching air. You don't try to change others through anger. You transform yourself, gaining real influence. Others sense your steadiness, not because you force them, but because you're unshaken. Nothing is more formidable than someone unprovocable. Anger signals lost control. You rage because you feel helpless, but you never had control there, just the illusion of it. Releasing that illusion frees you from the anger tied to it. This doesn't mean becoming indifferent or numb. It means becoming wiser, choosing where to place your mind, focusing on what you can change, yourself. Picture this. You're in a long checkout line and someone cuts in. You feel a flare of anger. You have 2 paths. 1, yell, curse, argue, and both lose composure. 2, smile, not out of weakness, but because you know your reaction shapes the rest of your day. You can politely address it, but you don't trade peace for a futile emotional tug-of-war. When you distinguish what you control from what you don't, life lightens. You stop pleasing everyone. You stop seeking approval from those who don't get you. You stop expecting the world to bend to your will. Deep within, a new freedom emerges, quiet but solid. This is freedom from expectations, from clinging, from negative emotions tied to what you never controlled. If you're quick to anger or often frustrated, pause and ask, what's making me mad? Is it in my control? If not, am I ready to let it go? Answer honestly, and 80% of your anger will dissolve before it erupts. You'll feel the quiet power of self-mastery. If you've ever been angry over something uncontrollable, like someone's words, attitude, or a bad situation, share a specific moment in the comments. Writing it out clarifies your perspective. If this strategy resonates, like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs it. Each share could bring calm to someone's chaotic day. Strategy 3. Pause for 3 seconds before reacting when anger strikes. It's lightning fast. A hostile glance, an off-putting remark, or an offensive act. Enrage surges like a tidal wave. Your first instinct might be to snap back, curse, yell, kick something, or stew in icy silence. These reactions unfold in mere seconds, seemingly uncontrollable. But here's the truth. There's always a brief gap, however fleeting, between stimulus and response. Widen that gap and you gain mastery over yourself. The 3-second pause isn't a trivial trick. It's a mental discipline, a small act with transformative potential. Neurologically, anger triggers your brain's limbic system, particularly the amygdala, sparking a fight-or-flight response that drives instinctive action. But a brief pause allows signals to reach your prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational thought, enabling responses aligned with your values, not fleeting emotions. What does a 3-second pause mean? When anger rises, do nothing. Don't speak. Don't act. Don't react instantly. Instead, take a slow, deep breath in and out. In your mind, say, I can choose how to respond. Then stay silent. 3 seconds. It may seem short, but in those seconds, you create a space of freedom and choice. Those 3 seconds don't fix the situation, but they save you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Exploding in anger feels powerful, but it's being controlled. Pausing, observing, breathing slowly, you not only prevent escalation, but signal your nervous system. I'm in charge. That feeling of not being dragged by emotion is one of the most liberating and empowering experiences you can have. To apply this, practice before conflicts arise. Pick a trigger that often irks you, someone cutting you off, ingratitude, or a disobedient child. Visualize it vividly, imagining your anger rising. In that mental scene, pause for 3 seconds. Breathe in, breathe out. Repeat a mantra. I choose. I control my emotions. Or not reacting is strength. Rehearse this. Build a neural habit. In real life, you'll see magic unfold. At first, you might still get angry, but notice, I remembered to pause. Next time you pause for a second, then 2, then 3. Soon, you'll catch yourself not yelling. Eventually, you'll smile or let it go, not out of weakness, but from strength. The 3-second pause rewires your brain from reflex to choice, instinct to reason, chaos to calm. Some fear that not reacting instantly invites others to walk over them or signals weakness. But impulsive reactions aren't strength, they're loss of control. The real power lies in staying rational when others lose their cool. Silence isn't submission, pausing isn't defeat, it's seizing command of your mind. Anchor the pause with a physical cue. Clench and release your fist, tap your thigh, grit your teeth briefly, or glance downward. These act as positive triggers, signaling your brain. Time to pause. At first, it's conscious. Over time, it becomes your new instinct, the instinct of mastery. Start small, practicing in low-stakes moments. Before countering a colleague's idea in a meeting, pause 3 seconds. Before snapping a sarcastic remark, pause. When a frustrating text arrives, don't reply instantly. Draft a response, delete it, then rewrite with reason. Each pause breaks old patterns, rebuilding you. Anger is automatic, but what you do with it is a choice. That choice emerges only with space to reflect. That space isn't natural. You must create it through practice. Once you do, you'll never want to lose it. Calmness doesn't mean lacking emotion. It means not letting emotion dictate your actions. If you can pause for 3 seconds before every negative reaction, you'll cease being a victim of your emotions. You'll steer your ship through stormy seas. Every pause is a moment you choose to own your life. If you've ever avoided a pointless argument by pausing briefly, share that moment in the comments. If you haven't tried, commit now. Start with 3 seconds today. Find this strategy helpful? Like to show you're practicing. Subscribe for more lessons on building unshakable calm, and share this with someone who reacts too quickly. They'll thank you later. Strategy 4. Shift perspective. See others as children. Learning to live a primary source of anger is how we view others. We expect them to act properly, think rationally, and align with our standards. When they fall short, we don't just feel disappointed. We get angry, assuming they're intentionally hurtful, thoughtless, foolish, or even malicious. This reflects a deep illusion. We forget that people are imperfect learners, not programmed machines. By shifting perspective, seeing others as children learning to navigate life, you can release unnecessary anger. Picture a toddler learning to walk, stumbling, crashing into furniture, spilling things. Do you get mad? You're patient, knowing they're developing. You don't expect perfection. Their clumsiness isn't defiance, it's part of their growth. Why not extend this to adults? Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire, reminded himself daily, when someone acts wrongly, they're doing what they believe is right, even if they're mistaken. This simple practice can transform how you see others. When someone is rude, selfish, or rash, view them as emotionally or rationally immature, a child learning to be an adult. Instead of anger, you'll feel compassion. This isn't excusing bad behavior or being overly permissive. It's about reframing others' actions to preserve your inner peace. Anger doesn't improve them. It burdens you. Staying calm positions you to inspire change. Responding with empathy maintains your composure, not a victim of others' emotions. We rage at poor behavior but rarely ask, what has their life taught them about emotions, communication, or kindness? Some grew up where shouting was normal. Others never learned boundaries, responsibility, or gratitude. Some act from past wounds, reacting in survival mode. They're adults, but their actions often reflect a child's understanding. Seeing this, you'll judge less. You'll want to help, or at least step back calmly. Stoics say anger stems from unrealistic expectations. Expecting others to think, act, or live like you hands them control over your emotions. When they deviate, you erupt. But if you see them as learners, they're not where I am yet, and I was once worse, anger softens. You realize they're still growing. Practice this. When someone angers you, ask, if they were a child learning to live, would I be this mad? Picture them as a kid grappling with communication, emotions, or care. Your anger will ease. Instead of punishing them with words or attitude, you'll let them face natural consequences, not your retaliation. This doesn't mean endless tolerance. Stoics don't advocate being a doormat. They urge responses from clarity, not emotion. You can set boundaries, say no, or exit toxic relationships. Not out of anger, but because it's right for your peace and values. That's the difference between reacting and acting consciously. Here's a bonus. Shifting how you see others changes you. Instead of calling someone crazy for lashing out, think, they're hurting. Your heart lightens. Instead of labeling someone ungrateful for selfishness, think, they haven't learned to give. You soften. This gentleness doesn't weaken you. It strengthens you, freeing you from being swayed by others' actions. You stand steady in a turbulent world. That's Stoicism. True maturity isn't wealth, success, or experience. It's knowing everyone, including you, is learning. Seeing others as fellow learners replaces judgment with understanding. You respond not because you must, but because you choose to live awake. Have you ever calmed anger by reframing someone's actions? Share that moment in the comments. It might help someone wrestling with their emotions. If this strategy feels liberating, like to show you're with me, subscribe for more lessons on living rationally and deeply, and share this with someone who needs to take life less harshly. Strategy 5. Write an anger letter. But don't send it. Sometimes you feel like a ticking bomb. Someone's words choke you with rage. A situation makes you want to slam the table, yell, or fire off a scathing message to teach them a lesson. Anger isn't just an emotion. It's a surging energy that feels like it'll drive you mad if you don't release it. But venting it wrongly can cost you dignity, relationships, or the reputation you've worked hard to build. So what do? Write. Write then. Pour it all out. Craft an anger letter, not to send, but to liberate yourself. This method, used by modern psychologists, echoes a Stoic practice from over 2,000 years ago. Inner dialogue and emotional journaling. The goal isn't to unleash fury on others, but to free your mind from it, creating a safe distance between you and your anger. Anger is dangerous when it lingers in your mind. It's like smoke in a sealed room. The longer it stays, the more it suffocates. Writing opens the door, letting it escape. Start writing as you feel. Raw, harsh, emotional. Let the words flow. Be honest, unfiltered, detailed. Write exactly what you say if you were confronting them. Pretend you'll send it the moment you're done. Then stop. Don't send it. This is critical. Never send the letter. Don't turn it into a text. Don't read it aloud to anyone. Leave it on paper in your phone or a computer file, or write it by hand and tuck it away. Step back to your life. Do something else. Shower, drink water, walk, sleep. Let time cool your mind. Let reason return. Hours later, or ideally the next day, reread the letter. You'll notice something strange. Much of it no longer feels true. The harsh words you thought were justified seem excessive. The accusations you believed were spot on feel one-sided. You'll wonder why you were that angry. You'll realize anger isn't you, it's a wave that comes and goes. Not acting on it in the heat of the moment is a triumph of reason. Why does writing work so powerfully? It shifts emotions from your unconscious to your conscious mind. Writing forces you to organize thoughts, articulate them, and describe clearly, slowing your brain down. It moves from instinct to rationality. Once written, you've evacuated much of the emotion, like draining a boiling kettle. You may still feel anger, but it no longer controls you. Writing also reveals what truly hurts. You might think you're mad about a comment, but as you write, you uncover deeper triggers, fear of disrespect, an old wound, or feeling abandoned. Writing exposes the real emotional layers beneath the surface. Instead of lashing out, you'll want to heal yourself. After rereading, you have 3 options. 1. Keep the letter as a reminder of your growth. 2. Revise it into a calmer message if communication is needed. 3. Tear it up, burn it, or delete it. A symbolic release of anger, signaling you're ready to move on. Whatever you choose, you've done the vital part. Prevented negative emotions from causing harm. Writing anger letters builds a new habit, thoughtful response over reckless reaction. Instead of acting instantly, you acknowledge emotions, step back, and process alone first. This fosters peace within you and makes others feel safer around you. They'll see you're not volatile, that you're strong enough to protect relationships from emotional outbursts. That's power, not to dominate, but to preserve. Stoics don't deny emotions. They don't teach you to ignore or suppress. They urge you to face, identify, and handle them rationally. An anger letter is a perfect tool, a safe space to express raw feelings without hurting anyone, to reflect before saying something you'll regret. With practice, anger visits less often, leaves faster, and wounds less deeply. Anger is instinct. Writing instead of reacting is strength. That small choice is the difference between a life ruled by emotions and one where you steer the wheel. Have you ever written an anger letter and not sent it? Share your experience in the comments. It could inspire others to master emotions over impulsiveness. If this strategy calms you even slightly, hit like. Subscribe to keep growing your inner strength, and share this with someone often swept away by emotions. You might just transform their day. Strategy 6. Log irrational anger to learn from. Here's a hard truth. Most of your daily anger is irrational, not because you're wrong to feel it, but because your reaction often outweighs the situation. A missed text feels like disrespect. Someone cutting you off in traffic feels like a personal insult. A simple critique feels like an attack. These outbursts don't just disrupt your peace. They erode your clarity, compassion, and sometimes cherished relationships. Logging irrational anger isn't about guilt-tripping yourself. It's about observing yourself objectively, like an athlete reviewing fumbles to sharpen skills. By documenting each flare-up, you uncover what triggers you and how to respond better next time. Create an emotion journal to track anger honestly without judgment or blame. Whenever you feel furious, jot it down as soon as possible. Keep it brief, covering 3 key points: what happened, how you felt, and how you reacted. Then add one more: how you'd react differently if you could redo it. With consistent practice, patterns emerge. You'll notice you're most irritable when ignored, belittled, hungry, tired, or stressed. You'll see many situations weren't as dire as they felt. Most importantly, you'll realize you have more control over your reactions than you thought. Stoics teach, no one offends you, you feel offended. This doesn't deny others' wrongs, but emphasizes that your emotions stem from how you interpret events, not the events themselves. Those interpretations can change with honest self-observation. A surprising benefit of logging anger. Rereading entries days later can be amusing. What set you off before seems trivial now. You'll wonder, why did I let their actions control me? Writing forces you to step out of the emotions role and become its director, a perspective you might miss without putting it on paper. Logging doesn't make you cold or detached. It's respecting your emotions by not letting them rule your life. You stop being swept away by feelings without understanding them. You become an observer, and observers are free. Enhance your journal by exploring deeper triggers. After noting an angry moment, write a bit about why you reacted that way. Old wounds, childhood memories, or subconscious beliefs might surface. For instance, if being ignored infuriates you, maybe you grew up feeling unheard. If you bristle at others' superiority, perhaps past comparisons left you feeling inadequate. These insights don't weaken you. They guide healing. Consistency and non-judgment are key. You'll sometimes cringe at your childish reactions or feel embarrassed. Don't stop. Growth comes from facing mistakes with a learning mindset. Each journal entry is a step toward self-mastery. Use a small notebook, a phone app, or a private chat for your logs. Writing is crucial. Thoughts vanish, but words endure, serving as proof of your evolution. Over time, you'll start catching anger as it sparks. Having read, "Last time I reacted this way and regretted it," your brain will flag, "Wait, don't repeat that." That's when you're rewiring emotional patterns, shifting from reflex to intention. Perhaps the deepest lesson from logging irrational anger is realizing you're human, imperfect, vulnerable, but growing daily. You don't mature by dodging emotions, but by facing them, naming them, and choosing differently. If you've ever looked back at an outburst and thought, "I overreacted," share that in the comments. The rawer, the more valuable. Or simply write, "I'll start logging my emotions today." If this strategy feels worth trying, hit like for motivation. Subscribe for daily lessons and share this with someone eager to understand and improve themselves. Strategy 7. Focus on action, not reaction. The key difference between emotional maturity and passivity lies here. Passive people react, while mature people act. Reactions are instant, thoughtless, driven by emotion and instinct. Actions are deliberate, conscious, rooted in values and reason. By shifting your focus from reacting to what happens around you to acting in alignment with what you believe is right, you not only tame anger, but also take command of your life. Stoics teach that true freedom begins when you stop being a victim of circumstances and start crafting responses on your terms. No one can make you angry unless you allow it. No one can unsettle you unless you hand them that power. When someone insults you and you lash out, you're giving them control of your mind. But when you respond with rational action, silence, setting boundaries, or a calm reply, you assert your mastery. Focusing on action means asking different questions than someone reacting. A reactor asks, "Why did they do that?" Or, "How dare they disrespect me?" An actor asks, "What's the right thing to do here?" Different questions yield different outcomes. One fuels emotion, the other restores reason. Get used to asking the right question, and you'll naturally lean toward the right choice. For instance, if someone interrupts you in a meeting, you might react by arguing, showing attitude, or sulking. That's reaction. But pause and ask, what am I defending? My pride, my idea, or my dignity? If I stay calm and clarify my point, will others listen more? That's action. It's not impulsive, yet it's profoundly powerful. Action doesn't always mean grand gestures. Sometimes the right action is nothing. Smiling and stepping back, choosing silence over bickering, writing an email instead of arguing face-to-face, politely declining instead of over-explaining. The key is choosing deliberately, not letting emotions push you into regret. To practice, ask 3 questions when anger or frustration rises. 1. What's really happening? 2. How do I want to react? 3. What outcome do I want from this? Answering the third reveals that emotional outbursts rarely achieve your goal. Reason will nudge you toward a better path. Focusing on action shifts your attention from others to yourself. You stop fixating on their uncontrollable words, attitudes, or behaviors. You return to what you control, your mindset, response, choices. Living this way grants a freedom no one can take. No matter what others do, you uphold your values. Even if they're wrong, you preserve your peace. A Stoic maxim states, let your actions be your only response. Instead of arguing, raging, or complaining, act. No fuss, no blame. Just do what's right. Others may not change, but you will. Stronger, clearer, more self-possessed. That outweighs any fleeting win in a pointless spat. Acting rightly isn't always comfortable. It might mean speaking hard truths others resist, leaving toxic relationships despite lingering feelings, or staying silent under insult. Not from weakness, but to avoid becoming a lesser version of yourself. Right action isn't the easiest path, but that's why it demands reason. As you embrace action over reaction, your worldview shifts. Situations stop feeling like personal attacks. You no longer feel constantly wounded. You see lessons in clashes, opportunities in conflicts, and your character forged through daily choices. That's true control. To anchor this right in display, I don't react. I act, read it when angry, confused, or ready to explode. It's a compass guiding you back to your center, where emotions are signals, not masters. You decide what comes next. Anger thrives when you're weak. When you're strong, you don't need to react, you act. Purposeful action, born of a clear mind, transforms not just situations, but who you are. Are you choosing deliberate action or still swept by emotional reactions? If you've ever swapped an outburst for a calm decision, share it in the comments. It could inspire someone today. If this strategy clarifies the line between instinct and strength, hit like. Subscribe to keep honing self-mastery daily, and share this with someone who needs to pause before reacting. Do it now. Strategy 8. Remind yourself daily. Life is a test of the mind. If Stoics excel at one thing, it's turning life's adversities into opportunities to strengthen the mind. To them, every challenge is not a setback, but a test. Every insult, rejection, misunderstanding, betrayal, or unwanted situation is part of the forge that shapes you. They don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "And what test is this? And how will my mind respond?" This final strategy is the bedrock of mastering anger. Remind yourself daily that life is a mental test. Nothing is personal. Nothing is an attack. Everything is a chance to prove whether reason or emotion governs you. Embrace this mindset, and you'll grow calmer amid life's unexpected blows. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "When you wake up, prepare to meet the rude, selfish, greedy, and foolish. They act this way not to harm you, but because they don't know better." This isn't pessimism. It's a reminder not to be shocked when life veers off course. Don't feel betrayed by bad behavior. It's inevitable. Your task isn't to avoid it, but to train your mind to stand firm within it. Seeing each day as a test shifts your perspective. Life isn't out to get you. You're a fighter entering the ring. Every tense moment is a round. Every criticism is a jab. Every provocation is a challenge to hold your guard. Pass the test and you grow stronger, sharper, wiser. Lose your cool and you lose, not to others, but to yourself. This mindset shortens the gap between stimulus and response. When insulted, you won't think, "How dare they?" Instead, you'll ask, "This is my chance to stay calm. How do I respond without losing myself?" This question pivots you from emotion to action, acting as a mental break to curb unnecessary anger. Start each morning with a simple question. If things go wrong today, how will I respond? Just asking primes your mind's defenses. You're ready for the unexpected. When it hits, you're not blindsided. You see it as part of the test you anticipated. This isn't cynicism or gloom. It's psychological preparation. A soldier doesn't march to war expecting no casualties. A sailor doesn't sail without bracing for storms. Likewise, a rational person doesn't face the day assuming all will go smoothly. They hope for the best but prepare for the worst. This readiness keeps them steady, unshaken by emotional turbulence. With practice, something remarkable happens. You'll start thanking irritating situations and those who anger you. They reveal your weaknesses, offer chances to practice calm, and serve as unwitting coaches in your growth. With humility, you'll learn from them and go further than you imagine. To make this a habit, try this nightly exercise. Write down one situation that tested you today. Answer 3 questions. 1. How did I respond? 2. What did I learn? 3. How will I respond better next time? Done regularly, this turns each day into mental training. You don't just live, you evolve. One day you'll realize peace doesn't require a perfect life. Happiness doesn't demand others change. Reason doesn't need smooth circumstances. You've learned to see every challenge as a tool, not a barrier, transforming anger into strength. That's when you know. You no longer fear anger, you've mastered it. Anger is just a signal. Impulsive reactions are old habits, but you are new each day. If you face life each morning thinking, today is a test, you'll return each night knowing, I've taken another step. If you're ready to view challenges as mental tests, comment with a morning mantra like, today I won't react, I'll choose. If this strategy empowers you to live proactively and calmly, hit like to spread the message. Subscribe for daily lessons in inner strength and share this with someone facing tough days who needs a fresh perspective. You've just explored 8 strategies, 8 tools of inner strength to stop being a victim of anger, to avoid being swept away by impulsiveness, and to break free from always feeling on the verge of exploding. If even a small part of what you've heard resonates deeply, you're ready for a vital journey. Mastering your emotions to live a calm, clear, and deeply rooted life. But don't stop at feeling inspired. Knowledge without action is just theory that fades. So I invite you to pick one strategy that speaks to you most. Just one. And commit to applying it for the next 7 days. Write it down, stick it on your mirror, set a morning reminder. Each evening, reflect. When did I use it today? When was I calmer? If this video has shifted how you view anger or helped you pause to breathe before reacting, share it with someone who needs it. Comment below with the strategy you're choosing, so I know you're starting. To keep building your inner strength, subscribe. I'll be here with more practices ahead. Anger is easy. Mastering it is true strength. Now you know where to begin.